welcome back to the Football Flynn Show. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're back with a new video for you. Today we're looking at a former footballer. We're taking a blast into the past. Yes, I said it. We're going to be looking at a former Japanese footballer, the magician who walked away from it all, Hidetoshi Nakata. We're going to be looking at why he left football at the top of his game. So let's get straight into it. Early life. Hidetoshi Nakata was born in Kofu, Yamanashi Prefecture, 1997 in Japan. He wasn't much of a football fan when he was a kid. Like most kids, obviously have their own likes and interests. But then he watched his favourite TV show, Captain Tsubasa, and that really inspired him to get out in the pitch, kick a ball and join his local football setup. He then joined Belmar Hirasuka, hopefully I pronounced that right, now known as Shonan Belmar, in 1995. And then he made an instant impact really in 1997-98, which earned him Asian Player of the Year, which was a really early impact, and that was really a starting base for him to build his way up. To France 98, the breakthrough. Japan qualified for the first ever World Cup in 1998, a momentous occasion for the country. Hidetoshi, who was still 21 at the time, was part of this Japan squad, and he was one of their most exciting players to watch. Talented, young, World Cup, we've seen it all before, Lamine Yamal players, etc. Unfortunately, didn't go as far as Lamine Yamal. Spain, they were eliminated in the group stage. They lost all 3 group games. But his ability stood out, and that earned him a move to Perugia. So, Perugia, on his debut against Juventus, one of the best clubs at the Serie A at that time, he scored 2 goals in a game which he lost in the end up 4-3. Still 2 influential goals. Juventus had like Zidane, Edgar Davids, Conte, Didier Deschamps, and a young Thierry Henry playing all with them, you know. So it was a pretty strong Juventus side, and to put it up to them on his first game was really good. Within 2 seasons, Nakata had become a ones-to-watch player for Perugia and for the Serie A. An exciting midfielder for the fans to watch. He was smart, creative, on and off the ball. Roma. Hidetoshi was part of the 2000-2001 Roma side, who were managed by Fabio Capello and had the likes of Francesco Totti, right here, Gabriele Batistuta and Cafu playing with them. So a pretty strong Roma side as well. But the sad reality for Nakata was that he was used more as an impact sub rather than out-and-out starter. Of course, he started games, but when you have the likes of Francesco Totti playing in as a number 10, Gabriele Batistuta playing up front, and then Fabio Capello's system, it was hard for him to get game time, especially because he was young enough as well. So he didn't get the minutes he really wanted, but he still managed to get his hands on a bit of trophy glory. He went on then to win the Scudetto in that season with Roma, but he wanted a move after that 2000-2001 Roma season, so he went to Parma in that summer. Parma. Nakata made that move to Parma, saying that basically, as I just said, Parma offered him more playing opportunities. He played 92 games, scored 9 goals. Not exactly what you want from a man, I was going to say a boy, a man this talented playing football after his Perugia start to the Serie A, but he was often played out of position. Despite his expectations, his high expectations, he thought he was being played out of position, especially by Cesare Prandelli, hopefully I pronounced that right, and that kind of led to a bit of tension between the two. Nakata wasn't happy, and that basically made him go to another club. So he's already been to Perugia, Roma and Parma in the space of 4 seasons. Now, Bologna. 2002-2003. He made a transfer to Bologna where he got more regular playing time, which is exactly what he wanted. He played a key role in midfield, creative and smart, as he says, really good in the ball, and he had a good season there. He had a productive season. He helped Bologna qualify for a European competition, which was good. So that 2002-2003 season was a good season for Nakata. But then he moved to Fiorentina in the season 2004-2005. He joined Fiorentina when they were in serious financial trouble. Not where you want to be joining when a club's in serious financial trouble as a player, but he became one of the team's leaders. That was kind of a different experience for him because he became one of their leaders and he was one of their main players, as maybe he was in Perugia. He famously helped Fiorentina avoid relegation in 2005. It changes up a bit, so he goes from Perugia to Roma to Parma to Bologna to Fiorentina, and now he goes to Bolton Wanderers. You know, there's a difference there, and it's a bit of a change for him. So he moved to Bolton 2005 on loan. Moved to the Premier League. English weather, English conditions, different style of football. He did show flashes of quality and showed that he could play, but he did struggle with basically the physical style of English football because he never really played in it before, and he had bad injuries and had to adapt, which probably isn't good for a loan move. Give him maybe 2 years there, perfect. He plays well. But that was basically a short, and not much happened in that spell for Hidetoshi Nakata. Now, his national career, one of his main aspects of his basically playing career was his Japan national team career. So from 1997 to 2006, he scored 70... Oh, he did not score 77 goals. He made 77 appearances and he scored 11 goals. So his international debut was at 1987 at just 20 years old. And he became the face, the leader, the man that carried that Japanese team on his back. Now, of course, Japan were a decent side. They were pretty good side. But Nakata was one of their main players. And basically, that was the start of Japan's rise in Asian and in world football. So, major tournaments, the 1998 FIFA World Cup, as we mentioned before, earlier in this video, France, it was their most, probably, their first World Cup appearance, but it was a momentous occasion. Nakata was the key creative player, as we says, but that gained him international attention, and that was really good for him because he was representing his country, which a lot of people would like to do at the highest levels at the World Cup, but it's just a pity he didn't really get there in the end by going to the group stage and showing what he could do at such a young age. Then we got the AFC Asian Cup, which they won. 2000 Asian Cup winner, Nakata played a central role in midfield, helping establish Japan as a top Asian power, as a top Asian club. His composure, tactical awareness stood out at a continental level. He was so smart, he was so creative, he could do anything. He knew he was just 2 steps ahead of Nakata. In the 2002 FIFA World Cup, Japan and South Korea, it was the first World Cup hosted by Japan. Nakata was, as I said earlier, the team's star and leader. Japan reached the round of... Oh, no. Game's gone. I'm not bothered. I'm really not bothered. Anyways, as I was saying, Japan reached the round of 16 for the first time ever, which was good because, of course, getting knocked out in the group stages and then getting through the group stages when it's your own hostage of the World Cup, you'd be really excited. Unfortunately, it came to an end there. He didn't score, but he controlled the games with his passing, his positioning. Even if you want to push tempo management, he had everything, Nakata. And lastly, 2000 FIFA World Cup in Germany. He was the captain of this Japan side, but Japan were eliminated in the group stage. Not again for Nakata. He couldn't get there, got there around the 16, but couldn't get past that round of 16 stage. After that tournament, Nakata retired from professional football. At what age? 29 years old. So he retired from football, international duty at just 29 years old. Like, that was a retirement that surprised many, but Hidetoshi Nakata said he no longer enjoyed playing professional football, that he wanted to go into a career other than professional football, which is fair enough. But when you're at your closing years, maybe once you reach your 30s, you're still well able to play. You know, it was a really early retirement. After retirement, basically Nakata became a global cultural figure. He focused heavily on promoting Japanese culture, like traditional crafts and sake, which, if anyone doesn't know, it's a fish, not whatever guesses you think. And then fashion, travel, and design. He promoted them. I better hope. Oh, hold on a minute here. Sake is a fish, isn't it? Sake. Nope, it's rice wine. Okay, I was close enough with fish, but it's rice wine. Yeah. So he was widely respected in Japan as a pioneer who basically opened the doors for Japanese players to go to Europe. He was the first one kind of to do that. He was the one to start that trend off, and players followed after that. Now, you look at all the Japanese players playing in the top leagues around the world, even the likes of Mitoma, who's at the top of his game there, 2 years ago, was really, really good. Coming even into that World Cup in Qatar. I mean, he was brilliant. And that's kind of where it was an example of a Japanese player who was at the top of his game. So, as I say, his legacy then, what happened then after he retired, 29, his legacy carried on. Because of the Japanese players that came through after him, he was considered as one of the first to do it and go to Europe and experiment with all this. So he's one of the most influential Asian footballers ever. He helped change how European clubs view Japanese players instead of saying, we're not going to take anyone from Japan. You look at Celtic, I have a Celtic snow globe down here, and bring in Maeda and Kyogo. I mean, that just doesn't happen out of the blue. That happens over time with change. He was remembered not just for maybe some of the trophies he won, but for everything. For his professionalism, he was such a nice guy. His individuality, his intelligence, everything. Basically, as I said, he encouraged and inspired Japan, the next generation of the Japanese football players. And one of the quotes that was used was, Hidetoshi Nakata's career bridged Japan and Europe, redefining what a Japanese footballer could achieve on the world stage. Basically, Hidetoshi Nakata, what a player he was. He built those steps, that path for the rest of Japanese footballers to come to Europe, to different places. He built that path. That was his legacy, and he was happy with that. We don't know what could have he become if he stayed in football. He could have been one of the best Asian players ever, if he isn't already. A FIFA icon. I don't know if he is now. Used to be a FIFA icon. Didn't really like getting him in the icon packs, but you don't really understand until you hear his true story, his full story. And hopefully today you've learned a lot about him, and you can say, oh, Nakata, he retired early, but one of the most influential Asian players ever. I mean, if that's all you picked from today's video, perfect, because that's all we're trying to say. That message of Hidetoshi Nakata laid that path, I'm going to say again, for the Japanese footballers to walk along, for even Asian footballers to walk along, to go to Europe. That was his legacy. That's it. Hidetoshi Nakata, what a player. What a player. Hopefully you all enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you guys next time. Goodbye.